Hey friends, sorry for interrupting this intro, but be sure to stick around after the video. I do have some additional thoughts to give on this awesome interview with none other than Matthew Kirby Glover. Enjoy this interview. Hey friends, post editing big dog Ethan here. Just wanted to give you some important information to really put this interview into context. This news came out in the middle between recording that interview and editing that interview. And the program eliminations and reductions have been recommended at Henderson State University according to the Arkadelphian. I just want to go through them real quickly with you so you're aware of what program eliminations did end up getting made. So we have French, General Studies, German, Music Performance and Composition, Accounting, Management Information Systems, Data Science, and Finance and Management, Business Information Systems, Marketing, and Political Science have all been eliminated. Just poof, gone. To add on to that, a number of recommendations have been made for program reductions. You can look at the full list yourself. I'll include a link to the article in the description. Overall, this is going to save us $3.7 million. If you go look at the numbers that Chuck Ambrose first outlined for us, my only question is, what are the next budget cuts that are going to come? Because we're, like tens of millions of dollars in debt? And this is only like 3.7 million. So I'm not a business major. I want to make that very clear. Like, I don't know much about business, but I mean, is that even going to be enough? And I'm not saying, this is not me being like, rah, let's cut budgets so, people can't get access to necessary resources. I'm not trying to be like that, but I do want to, address the reality that like $3.7 million compared to like tens of millions. I mean, what's next? Is there anything next, or is there anything planned next? I don't know, but all this news, it's kind of what we expected, but at the same time, it's just that very small number, $3.7 million. That's got me kind of scratching my head. So again, dumb college kid here. There may be something I don't know about how financial exigency works, but yeah, all I can say is those numbers do not look good. So best of luck to everyone here on campus, and with that in mind, let's get into that interview with Matthew Kirby Glover. Hope you enjoy it, friends. Hey, what's happening, friends? Big dog Ethan here. I have my good friend Matt Glover with me. Matt, how are you doing?
Doing pretty okay.
So this is the second time we started recording, because the first time we started recording, my computer just crashed. So that's great. Anyways, that being said, I want to be as easy as I can on my poor little computer and not waste too much time with babble. So let's get right into the thing that we were here to talk about. Matt, you have started a petition on change.org. Let's go over to the source view here to look at this petition. This petition titled "No More Ambrose." From the petition here, Chuck Ambrose has been changing Henderson State University for his own benefit and not for the students. He wants to fire professors, destabilize departments, and eliminate entire degree plans without listening to the faculty, staff, or students who have been affiliated with Henderson for years. He hired a new vice chancellor of student relations despite hundreds of complaints about how she treats students. He hired a first-year theater professor to be in charge of all liberal arts departments without letting experienced professors even apply. He has blamed the student body for financial issues of our university without even addressing the misspending of funds by university staff. We needed help. Chuck has only brought ruin. It's time for him to actually help or step down. So I guess this feels weird because my this new first response I have is a little bit different because I don't think I don't think the first question that I asked you in this in our first recording really focused much on the petition itself. I want to first take a look at the claim that you make about this new vice chancellor of student relations. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think you changed her name because I think you initially had her name in there.
I sure did.
Yeah. So I know who you're talking about, but I'm gonna assume that the rest of the audience doesn't know who you're talking about. When we'll just kind of act.
Laird.
Oh,
Fucking
okay.
Laird.
You want Nikki Laird's name to be heard. Okay, so Nikki
Like,
Laird. What are these
yeah.
complaints? So what are these complaints then about her treatment of students?
I didn't hear a word you just said. Sorry, what?
What are these complaints that she made about or what are the complaints that students have made about her?
Man, there are so many complaints that I just put hundreds because I was like, I have no idea how many there could be.
Okay,
I've
well,
had
okay,
personal experience with her.
Yeah, but personal.
I,
But what about student Like, what are the official complaints that students have filed?
the official complaints is that she is inconsistent. She is not transparent with anything she does. How do I word this? She tries to achieve the bare minimum as possible and then doesn't get there. Um,
Could you name like specific instance in which she showed that?
yeah, do you remember how we both live in Ridgepoint?
Yeah, yeah.
Solid, semester.
I've been in Ridgepoint for 2 years. Yeah, it's almost been 2 years now, I guess.
Yeah, do you remember the green pool, the swamp pool?
Oh yeah, the swamp pool. Sorry, I think you cut out whenever you said the swamp pool. Yes, I remember that. What
Swamp
about
pool.
what?
Yeah, that's her job to fix it. It would have taken a phone call, and she
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Well, it's not just a phone call. There's also resources, and I can speak to this as someone who's a spoiled upper middle class kid growing up in St. Louis. We had a pool in our backyard. Pool maintenance costs money. And if you've only got five students staying, I guess, sorry, no, I take that back. You're talking about the last semester where the pool was just absolutely filthy.
Yeah.
Usually
I'm not talking about
during
dirty. It's usually dirty. I'm talking about like destroyed. And this is just like a mild example.
Yeah, but I want to bring this up with you again. I mean, this is during the winter when no one was going to be using it anyways. So I mean, I guess it was an eyesore, but considering the financial constraints we have right now, I feel like I don't know. I feel like the pool
No,
thing. It's
I'm not talking
yeah.
about. Sorry, it was green from last June to
Yeah.
to December.
Okay.
So
Now I
no,
do remember. I do.
not
So I can't.
months.
Yes. So I can attest to at some point in the middle of the summer they stopped upkeep on the pool. Part of me thinks it. Part of me thinks that maybe for like the summer they were just thinking, there's barely anyone staying at Ridgepoint. But yeah, I mean during the summer that was certainly problematic. I guess by the time it got later into the fall semester, I mean it's just like what's the point in taking care of it? I guess. But yeah, I mean that was an amenity that was taken away from students who were staying here on campus.
Well, no, I mean that was just a mild example. There was one time I worked band camp, and this is like everyone, at least in my department, knows about this story because we were all like, "What is she doing?" We worked band camp, and there was a band camp where we had, I think, the boys in East and the girls in Smith. No, the girls were in the U and the boys were in Smith, and we had a lot of boys show up for that camp, and so we were like, we need beds in East, and so Nikki got an order out that all the beds, or we need, all the beds we need necessary from Smith were to be moved back to East, and that was fine, normal, what have you. Band camp ended mid-July, so she had about a month, maybe a month and a half, to get said beds back to the Smith, and that job is literally just a phone call because it's maintenance people. Um, it's saying, "Hey, move the beds." Month and a half. It gets to the day of people moving back in, and like people move in a little earlier. Band people, athletic people.
Yeah.
It's like 3 days before everyone else is supposed to be moving in, and people are starting to move in, and there's still no beds in Smith because she hasn't even made
Oh.
the phone call. And
Oh. Wow.
yeah, no beds in Smith, and so people are starting to complain. And this lady,
And we know for a fact it was because that she just didn't even make this phone call.
yeah, because she made the phone call like almost right after, and then it got solved, like 2 days done.
Wow.
Um, she was apparently she was so stressed about it that she turned our phone off for a week. The vice president of housing, just no phone, just
Just
not
turned
answering
her
calls.
phone. So she turned her phone off the week that.
People
Wait.
moved in. Yep.
So she wasn't even like you couldn't even reach her like
Mm-mm.
during that week.
Mm-mm.
So let me make this so the president. What was her official title again?
I think vice president, but I don't even know who the president would be. So
Yeah, but I
president,
mean
vice
she.
president, head
Yeah,
head honcho.
yeah. Vice president of student housing. She was the one who was in charge of making sure that her students had beds, that students here at Henderson had beds, not her students, but students here at Henderson had beds. And all it took was a phone call. And the week that people were moving in to these houses, the vice president of student housing, I actually want to, just so we're clear, I do want to be sure that we get this, that we get her title right here real quick.
It was vice president of housing because I remember seeing it and going, "Who's the president? I need to call him because this is ridiculous."
Yeah. Assistant Vice Chancellor for Henderson Housing. And this person who was responsible for a bunch of students not even having beds whenever they first got here.
Yeah.
She's getting promoted
So
to
people
Vice
walk in
Chancellor of Student Relations. Now.
Yeah,
So don't do your job right as the student houser and then promote her up to student vice chancellor student relations as a whole. Yeah, that's fucking
So
brilliant.
now you see why I have an issue with him choosing Nikki Laird of anybody.
I could understand that. Now, granted, I mean, yes, I also do understand that, like, people. I mean, granted, yes, people can mess up at their jobs, but that's a clear cut example of you just not doing your job.
Yeah.
Now, what
do you know how I had to contact her one time? I've had to go through housing with her a few times because I've had very interesting housing issues. Do you know how I have to contact her now? I email her, and then I have to wait a week because she will never answer. She does not answer any email unless you put the word legal in it. You have to. So I email her, and if it's a nice email, there's no legal in it, so she doesn't answer. And then when I get fed up enough, I call her, and she doesn't answer her phone. So I just keep calling because I know it annoys her, and I just keep calling and calling until finally I get a response on my email. It'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's that one strategy of just saying keep banging on doors until someone gets a response from you. It's not. I would say it's not. It's not. It doesn't work in every scenario, but hey, if you're just trying to get an answer from someone about an important question, then yeah, especially someone who seems to be reluctant to answer their phone. That's okay. Well, then yeah, I mean that's just objectively terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry,
do you remember all the housing BS that was happening last year too, or the beginning of this year?
Housing BS? No, I mean because I didn't really have to move in. I was just in the same apartment.
So me and you were good because we pretty much moved in early, and I moved in early. You were already here. We were squared away. She changed how housing, like, to sign up for Housing Works at the beginning of this year.
Yeah,
and it was god awful. So instead of going by classification, or letting people stay in this, whatever, because it's always been classification. Seniors get first pick, and then it goes down. This time she changed it to 4-person apartments first, or 4 person groups first, and then it goes down. And
Huh.
that's great and all, but I think it was such a like what ended up happening is, there's these four groups, and then they all take up all the four-person apartments, and then there's other four groups who don't get that, and so they go, well, let's just split into two.
Yeah.
So now they're taking up all the two-person apartments, and suddenly you have all these seniors who, like, I had a friend who literally wanted to move from one single apartment to a different single apartment and didn't get the opportunity, had to move out of Ridgepoint entirely because it was completely filled up by that point by freshmen, or not freshmen, sophomores and
Real.
juniors.
Oh
Like,
my.
like, like, because she's my friend, said that she's not going to sign up for a new apartment, but she signed up for a single. So she was like near dead last on the list.
And just to be clear, so you're absolutely sure that it was it Nikki Laird's like decision to change this housing structure or
If it wasn't her decision, it would have. I can't imagine it would be anyone higher than her because she's in charge of housing. That is her job. It was her position. Um,
well, she's
and
vice chancellor. I mean, certainly there's a chancellor of housing, right? Like,
you can look it up on the Henderson website, and there's been no.
there's no chance. So there's just a vice chancellor of housing, but there's no actual chancellor of housing here.
Welcome to Henderson State.
That makes no fucking sense.
I know. So yeah, if it wasn't her decision, it would have to be someone on our team's decision, which means she approved it. And if for some reason it was someone above her, she's the one who implements the changes, and so she could have said that's dumb.
Yeah.
And she said that's a good idea. Let's do it.
Okay. So I think you made it pretty clear of why you think this decision to promote the vice chancellor of student relations up to vice chancellor of housing up to student relations. I think you made that pretty clear why you see that as a problem. I do want to move on next. I kind of want to move I kind of move our focus onto the next person that you mentioned here, somewhat anonymously. He hired a first-year theater professor to be in charge of all liberal arts departments without letting experienced professors even apply. Now, I want to be very clear here. This is actually kind of interesting. So the award that I got for KSWH, I got second place for Best Interview Talk Show. It was actually the episode that you shared with this first theater professor, Lacey Klinger. And so to be clear, I've seen the work that Lacey has brought to the theater department, and I think ultimately it's definitely for the better, I think. So I don't want to be like, oh, she's not. I think she's phenomenal at her job, and I think I think she's I think I do like the focus. I do like the attitude she's bringing to the theater department for the most part. That being said, this choice to hire a first-year theater professor without letting experienced professors even apply, I mean, that is kind of it's a head scratcher for sure. Especially because even so, I actually had the pleasure to sit in on like this test classroom thing with other potential candidates for the job that Lacey ended up getting, and so I actually got to like see her. I was like one of the first people who got to see her teach a class here on Henderson. And she had said there in the classroom that she had made it very clear that she wants to take her time here to she didn't want to shake things up here. She made that very clear that she wanted to sort of examine how things are run here first before trying to implement any changes. I don't see how taking this position adheres to that value that you were preaching to us on your first day here. Granted, I don't know, maybe I don't know what happens behind the scenes in terms of who gets hired and whatnot, but the decision to hire her and the decision for her to take that job doesn't necessarily align with what she was telling us whenever she was first hired.
Well, here's my entire thought about this. Because I don't blame Klinger for taking this job. If I was in her position, I'd take the same job. Like, that's not the problem.
Really?
In the same breath, though, I do not like how Klinger deals with things in the theater, particularly with how she allocates funds. You're telling me a first year, like, theater department chair, the person who deals with the directing and the uh, management of all this stuff. Her first year in a university with very little funding, especially to the theater department, hires an outside director so she doesn't have to do the work.
So that's one way of framing it, I think. I
and
think
and like
another. So Matt, I will say one way of framing it is, hey, let's expose students to new director styles. Yeah, um, because every director is going to have a different style, and I actually will say I think one previous problem with the Henderson Theater Department was you were working with the same three directors over and over again. By bringing in a guest director, you give students the opportunity to meet a new director and meet someone who's working in the industry as well.
well, right. I'm no, hold on. I'm not. This is not me shitting on Klinger. I have no beef with Klinger. I still don't. it I don't know. That just shows poor judgment for choosing. So really, really,
I
the blame goes back to Chuck, and also
I
you're
don't.
gonna
The blame doesn't go back to Chuck here because Lacey was ultimately chosen by. I mean, granted, again, I guess we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but Lacey was ultimately chosen by the three people who is it? Dr. Beach, Mr. Gilpin, and Mr.
no.
Henshaw.
I'm not talking about head of theater. I'm talking about the new position
The new position.
because that was Chuck's decision.
That was
That
Chuck's
wasn't
decision.
theater people.
Okay.
He chose her. He chose her. Didn't let anyone else apply. I mean, I'm a professor
That
about to retire from my
yeah.
department, who is the head of our department. Is friends with almost every single Ellis college secretary, director, you name it, and
Yeah.
has been here for 33 years. 33
Wow.
years, and he was not even given a chance to apply.
And you're right. I think that's the ultimate problem with this new position that Lacey finds herself in. I think it's not necessarily that she doesn't. She may be a good pick for it, but there were a lot of other people who didn't even get to apply for it, and especially considering that she's only been here for 1 year, that's a risky decision that was made to put her there. As awesome as the shows that I think she's been able to put on. And on top of it too, and I also want to bring this up, I don't know if you've seen like just how many theater students have been able to get internships. Part of that is because of Lacey's hiring, because she does have a number of connections in the theater industry, and that was one of the main things that they were looking at when they first hired her.
Was was how much she can get students internships and like
Yeah,
jobs.
yeah.
Do
I
you
mean
know what the
that's
job rate for the music department is when you graduate from here?
what
Do you know what our job rate is?
what
100%.
really. It's
Yes.
100% job rate.
We're proud of it too.
I was
100%.
I was told otherwise. I was told that music doesn't tend to get a lot of jobs. It's
No,
100%.
we don't tend to get a lot of graduates because it's a hard degree. Um,
Oh,
hundred
that's the
percent job rate.
well.
Hundred
That's
percent job rate.
that may be why they're also looking at cutting because you don't have a lot of. Interesting. Now I'm really interested to see the finances because in one sense you do have 100% job rate and that speaks to the quality I think of your music program. Yeah. At the
Yeah.
same time, I mean if you have a program where it's very difficult for students to graduate out of, then that could also that means a lot. That could potentially mean a lot of lost income for Henderson because they might be dropping out. Now, granted, they could just be switching degrees. I admit that. But yeah, I would be interested to take a look at those. Man, that would be an interesting thing to see, like how financially viable is the music department to Henderson.
Yeah.
Um,
Not to mention that the Henderson or the music professors here are some of the least paid in the whole university. Um,
really,
the highest, yeah. I only know this because a ex of mine thought it was a good, fun activity to look at financial statements. Accounting major, um,
mm,
above my head, but I did see my professor's pay grades, and the highest paid person we have in our department um, is, I believe, our band director, and it's 70K, which is for a university professor not much.
what? Yeah, 70K. That seems ridiculously low for a university. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
No,
That's
we get paid. They get paid peanuts, and then they got 20% cut on top of that.
and well,
Thank you, Chuck.
yeah, and imagine because I will say this too. I mean, I don't, I do know that our marching band or like the band here, it's pretty successful, isn't it? Like it's gotten a number of awards. Yeah, like
Well, we don't compete, so I don't.
oh,
We
you
don't get
don't,
awards, so per
you don't.
se.
Oh, okay. I
We're
thought.
just really
Oh,
good.
sorry. I think you said band. I'm getting show band confused with band. My bad.
Neither of them compete.
Neither of them. Wait, show band doesn't. I thought show band would do some kind of comp because I thought I
That's a
remember
high school
hearing.
thing.
Oh, okay. Huh. Well,
Yeah,
anyways.
we just
Um,
make a really damn good halftime show and call it there.
yeah, that's hey, that's always nice. Um, okay. So what you've outlined here so far with this petition and what we've kind of discussed in a little more detail, we have a problem with the vice chancellor of student housing, um,
Nikki fucking Laird.
Nikki
I have
Laird,
I
objectively
have
bad at her.
beef with that woman. I hate her.
Yeah, objectively bad at her job. Fails up thanks to Chuck Ambrose.
Mm,
You have Lacey Klinger, doesn't fail up. She's a great director, but there is still
yeah,
some question as to why you would hire a professor with first year experience who even, I mean, remember she was first year. Like I said, I mean, even when she was first year, she said, yeah, like I just want to observe, I want to kind of observe like how things are done here first. And now it's just like, oh, okay. Suddenly you're getting thrown into this new position where you get to which and I think she gets to like help like tailor the curriculum, I think, for the liberal arts departments, if I'm not
yeah. But why
mistaken.
is she in charge of theater, music, and art?
Yeah, that's where I'm just kind of like why a first year like why a first year professor without even asking for any other professors to apply. No, let's move on to this last thing that you mentioned here, which I actually covered it. I actually covered part of this issue with one of my videos on the financial exigency here. You say here he has blamed the student body for the financial issues of our university without even addressing the misspending of funds by university staff. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so one thing I was told was at this there was a Q&A that he held in about I think it was February, like February
Oh,
15th.
I was there.
You were there. So, if
Well, I
I'm
was
not
on mine.
mistaken, he had said at that Q&A that they were not looking to focus any of their communication on the previous mistake on the mistakes of the previous board of trustees, including Glenn Jones. And
Right.
and
Why?
and as I stated in my video, for Henderson's purpose, I understand why they don't want to do that. They just want to focus on what they need to do right now. Like, where do the cuts need to be made right now? I think that's what everyone's concerned about. I get that. Fine. That being said, we can't just totally ignore the truth, like the reality of the past. And the reality of the past is the Board of Trustees and Glenn Jones fucked this place up. And I detail that whole story in a video. I'll be sure to put a link to it probably at the end of this video or in the description or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear that Glenn Jones and the Board of Trustees woefully mismanaged this place, building.
Do you know the extent of it? Like how bad it was?
I mean, I know that we built. So the one thing I can say for sure is we spent way too much money on these new dorms. As a commuter college, we're a commuter college, and we wasted a bunch of money on dorms. And if I'm not and from what I've heard, I think it was Glenn Jones or someone on the Board of Trustees like had like some kind of like I don't know personal connection with the building contractor who like built the new dorms. So yeah, there was probably a huge conflict of interest in that decision as well. So that's great. But
So
what were you
what
going to say?
happened? What happened were three things. Three things happened. One, you're correct. The dorms should not have been built at the time that they were. We did not have the funds for it. Um, they were built anyway.
Hmm.
Second, uh, vendors, Sodexo, um,
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, Starbucks. I think we had more vendors at that point working through to Sodexo. They literally did not pay them. Like they requested the services, got the services, had the services, and then when they were asked, please pay us, they said, oh, we don't have the funds. Um, did not pay the vendors, and then when the vendors came around a knocking, that is when it started to get more in the shithole. Third,
Oh.
the financial guy in the board of trustees, I do not remember his name. I think if I heard it, it would be my
Powell, maybe.
Russian, maybe it'd be my Russian sleeper agent
Hmm.
attack mode
Yeah.
activation sequence. If I heard him, um, would sit in the board like, and this is a thing you can ask literally any professor. They know, they'd already, or experienced professors, they know it.
Hmm.
He would literally sit there and just make up numbers as they would say things. They'd be like, "Oh, how much funds? Oh, we have blah blah blah." Make up numbers just on the spot, completely. Like none of it was true. He would just make it up.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This.
when I tell you it was fucked, it was fucked.
Yeah. That is.
PH fucked.
Yeah, that's absolutely look. Now listen, what the administration has been trying to do here, as you pointed out in your petition, is they're trying to say, oh, the problem is the students aren't paying. Well, no, here's the real problem. You don't have policies that are making sure students are paying. That's your problem, not ours. Now, granted, I think they have fixed that problem now, but they're still going on this thing. Oh, we have unpaid accounts. We have unpaid accounts. Well, that's your fucking fault because you didn't make sure the students were going to pay them.
Well, also like loud cat. Also, when it comes to like, students paying their stuff, I have so many friends who have dropped out of Henderson because of our financial department.
Yeah.
And it's because they've either messed it up completely or they've overcharged and then they refuse to believe that they didn't. And so people are just like, I give up.
Really?
The school just does not make it easy.
We've had, so with me personally, like we've always had like weird things happen on our financial statements. So I had to go in and get them corrected. But even that is just kind of annoying. Like, look, you can't like do your job right. Like you're the account, like you can't get any of my charges right.
My friend who like lives right across from me, she went up there because I think they charged her twice for housing because they do that quite often.
Yeah. Well,
or it was either that or she was supposed to get the scholarship and she had fulfilled all the requirements and then they didn't give it to her. No, it was the housing one. That happened to another friend.
Yeah.
Charged her double. She said, excuse me, take it off. And they said, okay. Week later, not gone. Another week later, not gone. Go back. Take it off, please. We did take it off. You just owe that much. No, I didn't. You charged me double. Here's the receipts. Oh, wow, we did charge you double. We'll take it off. Did they take it off? No, they didn't. 2 weeks later, take it off. No, that's just how much you owe. Other friend who has supposed to have the scholarship. Where's my scholarships? I'm sorry, you didn't fulfill this requirements. Here's the stuff that says I literally did. Here's the receipt. Oh wow, let me get that fixed for you. Okay, it should be fixed. Where's my scholarship? Oh, sorry, you didn't fulfill the requirements. And a lot of my friends, because they're still here. Yeah. But one of them has thought about dropping just because of that.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Transferring it's a totally it's an option that I'm definitely considering. Even so I've been told, hey, if your program is here, you should stick around, and that is true. I think that's a fair assessment for the most part. I think there is still this. I still have this doubt of sticking around for a year just because how can the education I'm getting right now be a quality education when there are so many cuts being made to the education to the point where library closed on Saturdays? It's getting ridiculous to the point where this is really feeling like a gimped college experience.
Yep. And Ambrose is still taking home a 6-figure check.
And that's probably the most disgraceful part about this is that and granted, I mean, this happens everywhere. You have people who find, they get paid a bunch of money just to make a bunch of cuts like this. And, they don't even care how many lives they're affecting by doing it. God, so here's my overall response, I guess, because there's still one other thing that kind of, how do you feel that this petition may have been started a little bit too late? Because I mean, these cuts are going to be coming pretty soon. I mean, just asking Chuck to step down at this point. I don't know. It feels like what's the decisions have already been made by this point. You know.
Um, I didn't. It doesn't really matter if it's too early or too late for me. I don't really see a timeline to it. I didn't start this petition to like. I mean, I'm angry about it. Don't get me wrong, but like, I didn't start this petition with the naive thought that this is legitimately going to do anything. I mean, it'll probably do something. Apparently, some people up in the higher board already know about the petition, which is wild to me.
Well, I mean, you've got 98 signatures, Matt. I mean, that's more, that's like at least. So the only clip that has gotten that. The only clip on the kennel that has gotten that many, actually, it's not even on the kennel, it's on the KSWH Substack. It was an interview with you and Lazy. That was like literally the only thing that's ever gotten like above 100. So to have 100 signatures, I do think that, I mean, there's a reason why they're taking a look into that, I think, because that signals to them that there is definitely some unrest here on campus over these decisions, and rightly so, I think.
Right, which is crazy to me, because when I started it, I was just like, I'm pissed off. And my moral code states that if I'm going to get mad at something, I'm going to try to fix it. And if I can't fix it, I at least tried, you know? So I was just like, I'm mad. I'm going to make this. And I did. And I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. I put it on my Snapchat, and I was just like, it'll mean a lot if y'all sign this, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people.
Whatever.
I'm sure a lot of people here are feeling the same way too. I mean, look, this school has gotten screwed over time and time again now by higher ups like Chuck, by let me be clear here, by unaware higher ups like Chuck, like unaware higher ups like Glenn Jones, the people who really
no, I won't give it to them. They're smart men. That man, I feel like he has a couple degrees in this. He knows.
Well, no, I say unaware as in the sense like I think they're unaware of like the actual like devastation they're bringing upon people whenever they make. Well, first, I mean, with Chuck, I understand why, because he has to make these cuts. But with people like Glenn Jones, I say unaware in the sense that I don't think they even cared that they were hurting. I mean, they didn't even apologize, even for the fact that they objectively fucked up at their jobs. The Board of Trustees and Glenn Jones, they still haven't even apologized for the ridiculous mess that they've caused for us. And
then do you know he's still hired in the Henderson like stuff? He's still up there.
What do you mean?
It was in his contract, and Henderson decided that they were going to honor that.
What do you mean honor what? Like he's still like
he's working in some of the upper board stuff. He's not like in charge, but like he's still working for Henderson State, or was for a while.
No. He's at Georgetown University now. He's a senior advisor.
Well, he was working for us for a little bit after all that happened.
Yeah, I mean
because it was in his contract.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, whenever it first happened, like that first year, I think it was like up until maybe that hearing that he had with the state legislature. Yeah, he was working with us, but no, now he's at Georgetown University. You know what he is now? He is senior advisor to the president of Georgetown University.
Sayonara, Georgetown.
I know, right? It's just like, okay, I hope what they're doing is they're just like putting this. They're just like. I hope everyone just like silently understood that this guy fucked up at his job and should never ever be trusted again. And they just gave him like some cushy job just to like put him in some.
I wouldn't even give him that. I'd been like,
I wouldn't either. I can't believe they were that nice to that motherfucker.
Third head chair of janitorial services.
Yeah, that's
what I would give it.
Yeah, put him in like. Honestly, make him like the official dunce of Georgetown University for just like give him like an official branding for how bad he messed up Henderson State University.
No, I want him to be the new mascot of Henderson State, but instead of the Ready Spirit, it's just him in jail.
Okay.
The Henderson Croats.
I mean, granted, okay, so we have to be clear here. So it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, though. I mean, just given all the stories that have been abounding around Henderson about him, I'm sure there's some dirt on him. But nothing had all this, anything illegal that is said that he is said to have done is alleged at this point. Let's be very clear about that. But whenever you look at just how woefully mismanaged this place was under his administration.
Woefully negligent. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just he just let this place kind of just fall in a hole, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Well, we're having fun, so let's keep going."
Yeah, absolutely. And it's yeah, I don't know. Part of me wants to transfer just because I don't want to see what's going to happen here because I don't even think I can bear myself to look at it.
Yeah. See, I'm lucky enough that I'm getting out
Yeah.
as early as I am.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, on that note, I think we'll get on out of here. Matt, thank you so much for stopping by the kennel to talk about this. This is something that I've been trying to stay up to date on here as much as I can without, pissing off the powers that be. Honestly, I don't even think this one's probably going to go on the KSWH rate. This one's probably just going to go here on my Substack. I don't know if Paul's going to be okay with me putting this one up on the radio.
Why not?
Because because we're basically, dude, literally the petition here, it says oh, did you take this out too?
I had to, yeah.
You took out the fuck Chuck line, didn't you? Damn, okay.
I did.
You did take out the fuck.
Let me be clear about that, because I had someone slide up and was like, "You should really take it out because then the faculty will take it seriously." And it did not take it out because that dude said so, because he didn't even sign it. I checked. I took it out because I got a call, and I won't detail this call because I was told really not to talk about it. But I got a call from a professor that I trust very much.
Yeah, who just said,
and this person called me and was like, "Listen, I am all on board with what you're doing. I wish I could be on this train. I need you to tone it down a little bit because, and then I won't give you the reasons because no,
I understand. Yeah, some people,
the reasons he gave me were legitimate enough that I was like, I'm going to take it down for now. Yeah. It can go back up at any time. I have the edit button on standby. Hashtag fuck Chuck. I still stand by it.
You still
stand
by it.
But I'm just being a little nice.
For various reasons, you had to take it down. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I stand by the notes, but actually, I do understand, because here's the deal. If you want, you have to keep in mind you're in the Bible Belt, and whenever you're trying to if you're trying to sign a petition, you want to make it as easy of a choice for someone to sign a petition. Throwing curse words on there.
Hashtag Jesus said fuck Chuck.
I don't think it's going to help you.
No, here's the thing. Everyone wants to sit on their ass and say, "Oh, this sucks." They want to complain about it, and that's great. You can vent. That is a normal human emotion. But unless you're gonna do shit about it, no one can tell me anything. No,
well, the thing
people
is,
want to get mad about it. Oh, someone should call him out. Well, here I am. I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm not a fucking coward about it too. I'm gonna say it.
Well, congrats,
Nikki Laird,
congrats.
I see you.
But some people don't appreciate the lack of cowardice, and people see the lack of cowardice as rude and coarse and off-putting. And if you want people to agree with your message, and ultimately your message is, "Hey, I don't like Chuck Ambrose." Well, if you want people to side with you, you have to find the most appeasing way to sell it to them.
That's why I take it off.
Yep. Alrighty. Well. Anyways, Matt, thank you so much for stopping by. I think this is a great talk, and I'm glad that you're doing your best to keep people aware of this issue. And certainly here at the Kennel, we'll be doing our best to keep people updated on that as well. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you have any response to it, be sure to hit that comment button. If you think other people will want to watch this, just be sure to hit that share button, and also be sure to subscribe for all the latest updates happening here on the Kennel. Matt, thank you so much.
You can find this video on YouTube, Facebook, and Fur Affinity.
I knew you had to get one fucking furry crack in here. God damn it. I'm going to end this now before you make up another joke. I want to make this clear too. It says on my About Me page, I am not a furry. Don't listen to this lying little shit.
Dude named himself Big Dog Ethan at the kennel.
Okay, ending this now. Have a good one, friends. There we go. I just had one thought I wanted to tack on to the end of this video because, and look, granted, yes, this may be something that seems kind of weird to say, but I actually don't think it's terribly radical considering the amount of wealth that these people have. Arkansas is home to what? The owners of Walmart alone. I mean, I think it's like, there's one guy in that family that's got like $69 billion, and then 69. I literally just looked these numbers up this is on, what's the name of the web? Stacker.com. And I found the article through, it's like a local news website. Anyways, point being is, there are some rich motherfuckers in this state. And really the ultimately, Chuck Ambrose, yeah, he's being more aggressive than what we initially thought, but Chuck Ambrose is ultimately doing his job, like the job that he was hired to do, which was keep the school running while finding some miraculous way to slash all the budgets without causing everything to burn down. I mean, that's the job he was given, and he's doing the job. And whenever I see the call to action at the end of that petition there, which is, and I want to actually, let me find this just to be sure. Yeah, I just looked at really, there's no clear call to action there. It's simply Chuck has to help in some unmentioned way, or he has to step down. What do you want him to do? Like, give us all his fucking money? I mean, really the clear problem that we've got here at Henderson, we've got the people, right now at least, we've got the staff. The problem is we don't have the funding, and the Arkansas state legislature is simply unwilling to give that to Henderson because we had a bad board of trustees that, are all gone now. I mean, again, go check my video on the financial exigency here that I made a video on a couple months ago. Really the main problem here is that we just don't have the money right now, and that's an Arkansas state legislature problem. So if we do want to get people signing on to a petition, good, I'm all for it. And look, I'm not saying look, if you're unhappy with what's happening here in Henderson, please go sign that petition. I mean, just expressing discontent, it gets people to watch. It does. And believe me, saying, as someone who has, talked on public airwaves before, yeah, I mean, negative feedback will also get people to listen too. So as long as you voice that discontent by signing that petition, you at least get people to start that conversation. So if you're unhappy with Henderson, I still do say sign this petition. I do just want to sort of tag on there that ultimately, I don't think this petition is really going to help to solve much. And if we really want to solve these problems, I think it's more important that we do things like supporting non-corporate candidates who, would support taxing rich pieces of crap like the billionaires who own Walmart and get to reside here in Arkansas while tax-paying Arkansan citizens get screwed over at state institutions like Henderson State. I mean, just horrible all around. So if we really want to solve some problems, let's turn to the Arkansas state legislature, and let's turn to the ballot box in November. Let's start getting people in who don't have these ties to corporations. Let's start getting people in who aren't looking to just keep giving more and more money to billionaires and cut funding for essential institutions like Henderson State. And for those who say, "Oh no, it would cost too much money," no, bullshit. Okay, look, if we can let these rich assholes get away with taking so much money for themselves, if I know this is on a federal level, but I think the argument still stands that if as a country we're still okay with giving millions of dollars, not millions, trillions of dollars to the military, year upon year, I think we can afford to make sure that a liberal arts university, especially one that's been known to bring usually first generation working class students out of poverty, let's fund the hell out of this place. Hell, let's do that. Why not do that? Makes all the fucking sense in the world. But look, Chuck Ambrose, he was hired to do what he's going to do. I mean, he's been a little bit aggressive than what we initially anticipated, but ultimately he's doing what the hell he's going to do. Really the people who aren't doing their jobs are the people in the Arkansas state legislature right now. So that's who we need to turn to. So turn to the ballot box, turn to your representatives. I don't care. But I mean, right now this petition is just kind of yelling at a guy who ultimately is doing the job that he was hired to do. Now, granted, he may see his petition and he may change his mind on some of the bad things that he's done. Like maybe he may say, hey, okay, I'll slow down these budget cuts. Let's not worry. I don't want to lose any more students. That's fine. So yeah, like get angry because there are problems here on campus. And by simply signing this petition, you make that very clear to Chuck. You make it very clear to him. And honestly, you may even look, if we can get a unified message around, hey, listen, like, why do we have 5 billionaires living in Arkansas? Look, if people can get unified around that message, we can get Chuck unified on that message. Hell, let's get him to sign a petition on that. And let's start talking to other people, start talking to other Arkansas campuses around the state. I mean, what if this happens to another Arkansas college? What if another board of trustees woefully mismanages a university and drives it into the ground? So what? We just lose a college then? We just lose a university? And just hope that other universities around the area can take care of all the other students and teachers and really? Like, yeah, like let's get on this. Like, let's actually, as students, start organizing around central issues like this, because these are the central issues that are really driving a lot of really causing a lot of problems on our campus. Chuck is just Chuck is a Band-Aid. That's all he is. He's just a Band-Aid, nothing more. If we really want lasting solutions, if we really want like some kind of medicine to this fucking problem that we're seeing at Henderson, got to guarantee that funding. Especially for, again, such an important institution like a public college. I just, it's so fucking simple. Yet there are people in the Arkansas state legislature who, for some reason, are either too corrupt to admit, to recognize that truth, or they're too fucking stupid to recognize that truth. Either way, it seems like the current people who are in power in the Arkansas state legislature they're unwilling to respond to the actual problems of its citizens, and that's a shame. Just goes to show how messed up our political system is right now. Hopefully things will get better. Hopefully they will. But in the meantime, all we can do is sit around and cross our fingers. But anyways, that's all I really have to say on this matter. Thank you so much to Matt Kirby Glover for writing that petition, sharing that petition, and for stopping by the kennel to talk about it. I always appreciate having conversations with that lovely friend. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you like this episode, be sure to like it. If you have anything you want to share with me, be sure to comment. And, be sure to share and subscribe as well. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, friend. Have a good one.